From the UK
to the USA.
You're rocking with the EC Twins.
Hey guys, welcome to the EC Twins podcast.
Episode 7, I think.
I think it's 7, yeah. We took a week off.
Yeah, there was there's actually a whole lot of shit going on, and also I had to go and stay at a friend's house for a while because we thought somebody had COVID.
Yeah, there was Alice had been in contact with someone who they suspected had coronavirus.
So I had to go and lock myself up somewhere else. I wasn't able to make the podcast last week, sorry.
And also, I think there was that whole like blackout thing. It just felt like, are we gonna do a podcast about some bullshit where we're laughing at things amongst all this? Let's see where this all goes before we chip in.
Yeah, and any of our social commentary on it. But this week we're gonna, well, again, it's just a free-form conversation, but one of the things we're going to talk about is Anthony Joshua a racist? Now, for those people who don't know, Anthony Joshua is a British world champion boxer, happens to be black, and he said this week, what did he say, Mark? I mean, I did see this.
Basically something along the lines of, so obviously these Black Lives Matter protests have spanned all over the world now, including London. I don't suppose you saw the one in Scotland, did you, Alistair?
No, what was it? 4 people in a pitchfork.
Our brother's girlfriend posted it, and they attended this.
By the way, there was 100,000 people in LA yesterday. Not 10,000.
It's 10,000.
100,000.
Anyway,
carry
don't
on.
know how to count. I've had 10,000 at my parties. That's a lot.
100,000 people.
But our brother's girlfriend posted this picture of the Black Lives Matter march in Scotland, and it's like maybe 7 black guys and like 10,000.
I mean, but it's more of an American.
No, and it's good that it's happening wherever it's happening, but it's just a bit like,
we don't have that same, this racism, but it's not the same as it is in America, is it?
No.
Which is why when I see British people, which is why I want to talk about Anthony Joshua, because I see British people commenting and they don't really understand the situation here in America.
I don't think I understand the situation here in America.
No, I don't think we do understand it exactly.
No,
exactly.
I don't think
I didn't understand. I mean, I knew what racism was, but really, the colour of your skin, let me explain, guys. The colour of your skin is trivia, okay? It's as important as the size of your feet. It's a chemical in your skin. Pigmentation, same way some of us have different colour eyes or different colour hair. That's all it is. It's a pigment that stops you getting burnt by the sun and makes it a bit more difficult to kind of absorb vitamin D. So if you're from sub-Saharan Africa, perhaps you should get out in the sun to get some vitamin D and you won't burn. If you're from Scotland, we're half Scottish and half English.
Brothers and sisters are natural enemies, like Englishmen and Scots, or Welshmen and Scots, or Japanese and Scots, or Scots and other Scots. Damn Scots!
You should probably stay out the sun because
we don't look typically Scottish.
No, we don't. We've got, do you call that sallow skin, what we have, like darker skin?
I don't know what you call that.
Probably a gypsy. But I mean, and that's assuming...
Our grandmother did believe that we are gypsies.
No, I don't think, that's my theory.
Oh, is that your theory?
I have a theory that we're gypsies.
Alistair has a theory that we're gypsies, and if you know what gypsies are, they're nomadic people who roam around. So one half of our family, the Blackham half, which is our surnames,
last names for Americans,
were born in Manchester and stayed in Manchester,
Northern England,
and never left. Even though Manchester is like Detroit, and all the jobs went, and they never left. And then the other side of the family, our mother's side, our mother, who to be fair, left us as babies. So I don't think the gypsy blood helped there. But they all travelled the world. So they all
left, they all travel. So
yeah,
I've got a theory that we're gypsies. Anyway, if you're Scottish, it's probably best you stay out of the sun because you'll absorb vitamin D. You don't need as much sun, but you'll get skin cancer. So that's race for you. It's a level of pigmentation in your skin. I don't even like the word race, actually. It's starting to piss me off. Just because there's one race, the human race. I think they're getting it confused with ethnicity. The difference between the word race and the difference between the word ethnicity, there's not much there. They're both theories. Do you know what I mean?
It just no matter which way you split it, because we're all about freedom of speech. So even if somebody says something that triggers us, we try to say, okay, where has this person perhaps gone wrong? Where's the disagreement? What don't they know? How could I...
What else don't they know?
Yeah, and also I'm also like, well, I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't know. So I also listen to people, even if they have different opinions to mine. Even if I don't like their opinions, they might still be right. So I have to accept sometimes brutal truth that I don't like the sound of. But if that's the facts, those are the facts. Racism, whichever way you split it, just doesn't make any sense.
If any of you get hit by a car tomorrow and you're in hospital and they say, this man needs, 4 pints of blood or he's dead, you're not going to be waking up from a coma and saying, did this come from a black guy or an Asian person? You're going to get the blood.
And that applies to the...
Because we bleed the same blood,
that applies to the lot of you as well. I've already accepted we don't understand the race issue in America. We don't have that... we weren't taught about slavery.
That said, Matt, that said, okay, just so people know, we are going to address the Anthony Joshua situation in a second. But that said, you got to understand that we understand it on a different level because we've travelled the world and we've lived in poor neighbourhoods in England.
We've lived in Africa.
And we've lived
in Asia.
We've lived in poor neighbourhoods in Scotland. And we've seen, and we've lived in goddamn South Central. We were down on, what was it?
True.
Western and 29th. Our neighbours were rolling 20s bloods. Oh, by the way, there's 2 sets of rolling 20s bloods. There's rolling 20s blood. There's rolling 20s, I think they're called outlaw bloods. They're East LA. Our neighbours were rolling 20s neighbourhood bloods that are based in the West Adams district, and that's where we lived. With
because we had that red truck, and we were like, they said, well, you're going into a Crip district, and we had a red truck, no gang affiliation. It was what we could afford.
Still have the red truck,
and we still have that red truck. That's true. And we were like, oh, are we going to get killed here because of it? But it turns out that we was in a blood neighborhood, and I remember they came to our house.
Yeah, the Rolling 20s Bloods. It's a gang, Los Angeles gang. They'd sit out just openly selling drugs in front of us.
And they came to the house and they said to us, do you live here? And we said, yeah. And they said, no, man, do y'all live here? And we said, yeah. And then, no, man, not LA here. And I said, no, we live right here. Is that cool? And they went, yeah, man, I like your accent. And they were sort of like, why do you live here? And it's like, because we're broke.
Because in America, because we're poor, just like you.
Why do you live here? And then after that, they sort of...
And it was something else that we've got issue with. It was a black neighborhood, and I said that to somebody, and they said, "Don't you mean African American?" No, because my fucking neighbor on one side were rolling 20s bloods, and the neighbor on the other side was she Jamaican, right?
Yeah.
So she's not African. She's not American.
Well, I think the thing that triggered that for us is when we had our friends who were soccer players from Britain come over. They were buying a table to one of our events. And they were black guys, and we said, it's the 4 black guys on the door, take them to a table. And one of the managers of the club said, we prefer the term African American here. So they said the African American guys, and my British friend said, I'm black, mate, because he's neither African nor American. I don't know which one offended him.
He's a British guy.
But it doesn't matter whether you use the term African American or black. It doesn't matter as long as you're not a racist.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter.
Because say, you can't say black, you have to say African American. It's like saying there's something wrong with the word black.
Oh, you can't say the word. And I got over that in a very young age. I don't know if you did, but when they said I was white and I tried to draw a picture of myself and I got on the white crane and I went, this is bullshit. I'm like kind of pink or yellow, but I'm not white. If that's what you want to call me, that's fine. It's just a fucking word. It's fucking nonsense.
We'll base it around Anthony Joshua. So Anthony Joshua, heavyweight.
I think they need a clear explanation of who he is and what he means to British culture. Mm-hmm. Because in Britain, first of all, boxing's a bigger sport. Anthony Joshua was the #1 guy. He was able to win a lot of titles by knocking a lot of people out, and he became incredibly rich. If this guy fought me in a boxing match, he'd sell 100,000 tickets and sell out a stadium.
Do you think you'd have a good chance? How many?
I wonder how long I could run away from him for.
Not with a win from his glove.
And he won the Olympics, and immediately as soon as he really won those belts So he's like the biggest sports star in Britain, pretty much, right?
He's huge, and he's
like a Michael Jordan figure.
Yeah, he's really big. He's really famous. He's changed the face of boxing. He got boxers paid more money. He's good looking. He's very well spoken and eloquent.
He's very sort of PC. He comes across as he's really media trained, isn't he? But he comes across as
nice
a decent guy.
I've never seen him in an interview say something that I don't like or disagree with.
No, but you didn't like him, and we didn't like him.
No, I thought it's not. I didn't like him. I felt that Tyson Fury, who is a gypsy, would knock him out.
And so we always doubted his credentials.
We've been watching boxing since we were kids. So just brief history of our knowledge of boxing. We've been watching it since we was a kid. There was a boxer out there from Manchester, Northern England, where we're from, Gypsy, which means he's been bare knuckle fighting since he fell out of his mum's vagina. And I said to a lot of Anthony Joshua people that it would batter Anthony Joshua, to which Anthony Joshua people attacked me. I felt there was more prejudice against the guy because he was a gypsy.
And the gypsy guy, who's called Tyson Fury, basically said, I want to fight a guy called Vladimir Klitschko, who'd held all the world championship belts for 10 years. He'd never been beat for a decade. Anthony Joshua didn't want to fight him. Tyson Fury, who even we thought, no, he doesn't stand a chance against Vladimir Klitschko, went to Germany, which is where Vladimir Klitschko had all his support and lived, and slapped this guy around a ring.
The guy didn't lay a glove on Tyson Fury. He didn't so much as tickle him.
And won. So he's now the undisputed champion of the world. Comes back to Britain and can't so much get a taxi ordered for him.
There's 3 people waiting for him at the airport. He's the world champion. He's just beat the biggest fighter in the world, and he comes back and there's 3 people waiting for him because he's a gypsy.
And all my timeline is blowing up with F you gypsies, scumbag, and I'm like, ugh.
You should be laying tarmac on my drive because that's traditionally what some of them do. So,
well, they maybe don't understand what gypsies are. The nomads, they travel around. They do crop up and they'll appear on the wasteland in front of your house, and you know, they have certain rights that you can't move them on.
They're off the grid. Look, you've all seen.
They're off the grid.
You've all seen Snatch, right?
Right.
So Snatch, the character played by
Brad Pitt,
he pretty much, other than the fact that they're not that attractive
at all,
he nails them.
Yeah, he does. He does
culturally.
Really
now, there is a problem with pikers or gypsies.
What you doing, Potter? Get out the way back.
Can't really understand much of what is being said.
But, you know, they're hard as fuck, and they grew up bare knuckle fighting, and I said he could beat Anthony Joshua, and everybody in Britain who loved Anthony Joshua hated me. But there was never a racial element to it.
No, because there goes to show that the British people, completely oblivious to any racial element, had chosen Anthony Joshua because he was better spoken, he was better looking, he looks like he's chiseled out of stone, probably because he's taken a whole bunch of steroids.
And he's a good boxer. He's a boxer.
Yeah, good boxer.
They loved him. He was everything he should be.
He comes across like an awesome guy, but he was dodging fights, and that's what we were like. He's not fought anybody.
He's dodging anybody. He's fighting fucking tomato cans. He's not. You know.
And then consequently, the Tyson Fury guy went into a spiral of depression, put on like 500 pounds, literally, and got into cocaine and everything, and had to give his belts back. He was never beaten. He had to give his belts back.
That's another story.
Right. But I believe that was brought on by the fact that he was never given the respect.
Yeah,
because if there was any prejudice throughout that, it was prejudice against gypsies.
Yeah, so the issue comes this week when, during the whole Black Lives Matter protests and things over here, they had one in London, and Anthony Joshua went and he gave a speech in a black community, and he said that black people need to support each other and give the money to black-owned businesses and circulate the money in the black community. Now, I've watched the speech.
Yeah, and you said my page isn't full of it, but that's because I literally ask myself why I'm in touch with anybody I grew up with when I haven't been there for half my life. I have nothing in common with these people, and they didn't like me when I was there. So, you know, why they're my friends, why I'm wasting one of my 5,000 friends on them, I don't know, unless they're very special to me. I'd kind of delete them. But you said your page is sort of blowing up.
Yeah, just people calling him. He went and he said, "Don't give your money to white-owned people." But if you watch,
he didn't say that, didn't he? Well, it was more like, he said support. The way that the black community grows is by supporting black business. In a nutshell,
and black business and black communities, and this is not just so you know, I watched the speech. It was a very positive message. He promoted peaceful protest, and he said the right thing. The only way to change is vote with your money, vote with your dollar bills. And he didn't say this as some kind of concept. He said this based on many communities have done that. The Korean community in Los Angeles,
killing it.
Yeah,
all the community, the Jewish community, the Armenian community,
Exactly.
Lebanese community. You know, I have a friend and she's Lebanese, and every time she says, "Oh, I know a guy who can do this or that," I'm like, they don't have to be Lebanese. Remember, our old agent was,
Asian.
Chinese, and if we went for ice cream, we had to go to a
we
Chinese...
got to go to an ice cream and we'd drive 50 miles for ice cream. Asian person. Oh, no, we got to go and get the best sandwich, drive another 30 miles. Asian person. I'm like, they just circulated the money within their community, and that raised their community up. It raised that. And that's all he's saying.
And then what he's saying is the black community takes that money
And
spends it outside of its community, and then they have no money within.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's...
So he's right, isn't he?
Yeah, that's what he's saying. I mean, look, here's the thing. We've got this whole... At the moment, there's a thing like... If you're making a movie at the moment, you know, we're in Hollywood, so we know a lot of people in the industry. If they are casting a movie, they're not casting the best actors anymore. They're not saying who's the best actor. They're saying, we need a black guy, we need an Asian guy, we need a gay guy, we need probably a... They're not even... And the reason...
Like that scene on Star Wars where the two women kiss.
Yeah, well,
which fundamentally, who cares? That's great. That's how it should be. But there's just an element
so
of...
conspicuous.
Look at you. Yeah, watch this, you assholes, you pieces of shit for even being irked by this. He's like, what's it doing it? There was no... What? I mean...
Out of context.
Completely out of context. If the main characters, these are women and they're doing it, well, we don't care. Nobody cares. You're putting politics ahead of a plot line, because we'll all watch that Mulan movie that's coming out that looks brilliant, and the lead happens to be a woman, but that's the story of Mulan. But nobody's going to have a problem with that. When people have a problem is when they feel that you've put the politics ahead of the plot line and you're force feeding them something that they didn't have a problem with anyway.
Well, everybody thinks indirectly it is making a difference, and it's certainly a good thing overall. It's a good thing that, you know, black people and Asian people are getting cast. But here's the thing: if you think Hollywood, and I live here, gives a shit about black people or gives a shit about Asian people, they don't. You know why they give a shit?
People.
They want your money. Now you've got money. All white people or gay people, you've got money now, and they want it. It's like we were discussing. Asian people never get cast as leading man.
People, when was the last time you saw an Asian lead?
Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee. That was it.
Yeah, that was who you had if you was Asian.
They just ignored them. Fuck the Asians. They're quiet. They don't complain. So big deal. Let's ignore them.
And then Crazy Rich Asian comes along and makes a pant load of money. And they're like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. How many people in China?
People want to watch Asian people on screen. And now,
shit!
Every movie, get an Asian person in it if you can. Make sure
make him Eurasian. If not, just find somebody who's half and half. Whatever you can to make that money.
Parasite won the Oscar. Get more Asian people in it. They just want your money. They don't care about you.
Again, is something that we're happy about. It's a net positive. But what we're suggesting is the premise isn't as genuine. The reason
it's not they want equality. They don't want equality. They want your fucking money. And now black people, God bless you, you've got money through hard work and suffering. You've got money. There's guys who've...
And by the way, anybody who has a problem with that, let me give you a metaphor for how it is in America. And again, this is something we don't understand. So it's something I have to spend a lot of time trying to understand how there's even a divide. And I'll loop back around to coming back to why, of course, Anthony Joshua isn't racist, but why I think some of these people have misinterpreted it. But imagine we're playing Monopoly, and for 400 games, I not only don't allow you to play, I make you work for me. And then in 400 games, I say, now I'm going to use this money that I've amassed over 400 games to destroy you and buy you out of everything for the next 50 games. And within those 50 games, I'm going to turn around to you and say, why aren't you where I am? If you're a person who, within those 50 games, has managed to even up the score a little bit, then you had to work harder, you had to come further. And so we have to applaud you. So that's kind of what's happened in America. For 400 years, black people had a boot on the neck.
And you know what I think it is, Mark? What I think, me and Mark haven't been together for a while, so we're just ironing out some ideas here. Forgive me if I say something
wrong. It might be quite a long podcast today, but that's fine.
Forgive me if I say something wrong. Feel free to comment and tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, this is not for people who are easily triggered. We're trying to work out solutions here. is it right that, like you said, the gay community spends it in the gay restaurants, in the gay-owned clubs?
Yeah, West Hollywood.
Even with us, when
kicking.
we used to play for the gay clubs, remember that night where the club owner pulled us to one side
And said, "Are you gay or straight?"
Are you gay or straight? And I said,
And
well,
I said, "No comment," because I refuse to answer that question.
None of your business.
Doesn't make my music
I'm
sound...
not asking you, and I feel that it would be, if you're going to judge me on whether I'm gay or straight or whether I'm rich or poor or what religion I am, forget about it. I'm not telling you.
Yeah. Doesn't make my music sound any different.
No, none of your business, but we did think that... What I'm saying is that I understand tribalism and it does work for building community power.
No,
and sometimes
tribalism,
you have to do that.
I hate tribalism.
Sorry. I understand that tribalism works, but ultimately I'm against it.
Yeah, I hate
ultimately,
tribalism.
the way we conduct our business is very different, Alistair.
Right.
We drive by... We go to a Korean club, or we play for the Persians. Every New Year's Eve, we play for the Persians. Nobody goes to... Sorry, Christmas. Nobody goes to Vegas. Christmas. The hotels are supposed to be cheap. You don't know this because you're at home with your family. Every Persian in Southern California practically goes to Las Vegas.
It's sold out.
It's packed. It's sold out, and they're awesome. But me and Alistair stand there and think...
Why is it only Persian people?
Why is it only Persians? How is another community missing out on this? It's actually Persians and Asians now, if you think about it.
We drove by a club. in the summer last year. It wouldn't be summer this year because we've been locked in our house. Summer last year, and there was a huge line. I just see this line, and I'm thinking, wow, what is that? So we pull over. He jumped out the car. I said, "Excuse me, what's going on here?" And it was an event called, I think it was Everyday People, which is an event that kind
like
of
an Afrocentric or something they called it.
Our friend does the door there, and we just saw this line of awesome looking people, very cool, very hip.
And the only event that we knew about that was going on there was a big techno event. And they said, "Oh, that's nothing in comparison to this." And we were
like, "Wait a minute, we don't know about this."
We didn't know
so
about
we go
it.
in there and we just start talking to people, getting phone numbers, meeting new people, educating ourselves, learning something, guys.
We go out of our way.
Other than the same shit you already know in some kind of echo chamber, just speaking to yourself.
So we go out of our way if we feel like, okay, we don't have enough gay people in our party, we don't have enough Korean people, we don't have enough black people, we don't have enough Persian people, whatever that is, we will then spend the next week or two pursuing that element of society.
Remember when we first came here, I was thinking about today, and we had a meeting with one of the big corporations
say.
And they said, "We really want to work with you guys because you have a white crowd," and they kept saying you have a white crowd.
And we thought it was like a synonym for something.
We didn't know
just
what it meant.
let it go the first few times.
About the sixth time, I said, "Excuse me, can I stop you there? What is a white crowd?" And the guy said,
"White people." And we were like, "What the fuck? What are you talking about?
Who even notices that shit?" America, apparently. So we went out there.
Because what we had, when you remember, if we came, Europeans
yeah.
had reacted to the fact
Europeans, because we played house music,
music,
and we'd initially attracted a European crowd. So we instantly went out and we went for, as my brother says, the African American community, the Latin community, and then the Persian community. We thought, forget about this. We don't want to just be playing to a load of white. Oh, and Asians are big in techno, and we'd gone to the underground clubs. It was nothing but Asians. So we're like, we want them as well. So bring some of them in here.
And so that ultimately, and even if you're the most cynical person in the world, and all you can think about is yourself, you can't think on the level. What we're trying to achieve is a party where everybody comes, and there's so many different representations of different cultures.
A cross-section of society.
You're not going to be the gay guy in the party. There's going to be tons of you.
You claim to be a gay, do you?
Oh, yes, I am. And Mrs. Evans said I should come and talk to you, because you're the only gay in the village. Well, now you're not. Now there's two of us.
You're not going to be
the only gay in the village.
Yeah, you're not going to be the black guy who listens to house music. There's going to be a lot of black guys in there. You're not going to be the Korean guy. Whatever, we make sure that our party is such a...
We have cool people, all right? Cool people. We don't care any of the old world intolerances. If you're an arsehole, I don't care what colour, race, religion, and that shit. You can get the fuck out. If you're awesome, I don't care.
But if I have to sell that to somebody who's cynical without the concept of unity, you are then open to everybody being your customer and fan.
Yeah, well,
that's the ultimate goal.
Another thing we noticed, and again, we will come back to the Anthony Joshua thing in a second.
I don't think that's that important.
No, but you are going to make a good point about why people are almost justifiably upset with him. You know, they do call him racist and they justify. They've misinterpreted something, and I'll explain. I'm sure you got
what your point is that to achieve what?
No, you just say the Anthony Joshua thing now.
Well, no, but what your point is basically to close out your point and my point as well is just whether you like it or not. He's right. He's right. So no, it's not racist. He's right.
He's right. Yeah.
Page 1 of how to
build a community.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the house music community. If I want the house music community to thrive, which is what the EDM community fucked up royal, right? If you want to, well, for a while we killed it. We all earned millions, so I can't complain. But there's different branches of it. There's the underground. There's the more commercial. There's trap. There's, you know. For a while, there was EDM, and they fucked it up. They fucked it all up, right?
Because by infighting.
Yeah, the newbies came along, and come in, you come, newbies in, you come. And then the fucking techno idiots were like, fuck you, you're too commercial. The commercial people were like, fuck you.
Yeah, I had a conversation with a girl the other day. A really nice girl, to be fair. Idiots. And
fucked it all up.
And she plays for Kygo, and she works with Don Diablo. And she's like, oh, you know, they're nice guys, but they're super cheesy. I like techno. And I'm like, listen. So you might work out who this is, and I certainly don't want to out her because she's really nice. But I said, like 8 years ago, you was on my shoulder asking for that insipid I Got a Feeling song from David Guetta at that party where they wanted hip hop, and me and you were struggling hard to pick our way through that event that became huge and
one of the most successful
really
events in
catalysed
America.
the electronic music movement. But before that, we had to sacrifice certain snobberies of what we would play musically.
Yeah, we had to water it down for people, make it easy for people
so
to digest, chew the food up.
We're going to play I Got a Feeling so that we can play techno next. Whereas if we play techno all night, we're going to scare them out the room and they're going to go straight back to playing pop music or hip hop. So I said, weren't you the person who asked for I Got a Feeling? And she went, oh, yeah, I used to be like that, but now I only listen to techno. And it's like, but what's your point? Then you're blowing it.
My point is...
You was there one time. Stop calling people cheesy who were literally you 8 years ago.
So our point is this. We support the house music scene because we fucking love house music, and I support the underground. You'll see me at all the underground nights. You'll see me there at the techno parties, the deep house parties. You'll see me there when 5 people in a dark, dirty room. I'll be one of them, and he'll be one of them, and there's 3 others.
At the same time, remember when we went to watch David Guetta at Ultra, and everyone was talking smack about him?
We went to watch David Guetta, and everyone's like, "This guy fucking sucks. This guy fucking sucks. This guy fucking sucks." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? He's killing it. He's fucking murdered. Your opinion's invalid."
Like, whatever you think about those 4 chords that he plays, or maybe he has somebody else play, I don't know. This is the busiest the stage has been. They're singing all the words back to him. I don't know about you guys right now who are all talking shit, but will you just shut up so I can learn something?
So I can watch this guy and pick up a few fucking ideas.
I don't have any doubt in my mind that he, much the same as us, could smash you all to pieces with a underground, dirty, sleepy tech house set, whatever, techno, whatever it is you're into right now.
But he's main stage at Ultra, headlining.
But what he's actually doing right now is bringing new fans into the industry, into the scene, who will then go on to listen to techno, as I proved with the story I've just told about my friend. But they need to start somewhere, and he understands that, and he's a good conduit to that.
So we have to support our house music community. We have to support
right across the board. Electronic music, right across the board.
Right across the board. We support across the board. And that's what kind of Anthony Joshua was saying. It's not a theory he's got, it's a proven blueprint.
Otherwise, if we talk smack about it, people take all that money and piss off to listen to mumble rap or whatever, country and western, whatever fad comes along, they're listening to that. And all the DJs from the top to the bottom, from the commercial to the underground, all take a pay cut. All of you, because there isn't as much money to go around.
You all fucked it up, all right?
You all did that to yourself. So when we repair it this time, just know that, first of all, it took a lot of effort. It wasn't easy. some gratitude would be, and don't stand on the sidelines like you do with David Guetta, picking stupid shit to
So when it's
pieces.
repaired and house music comes back around again next time, don't fuck it up, all right? Support the community from A to B. So that's what Anthony Josh is doing. He's saying, support the community. Now, why some of his fans are justifiably upset, but misunderstanding it
Because first of all, I don't believe they're racists. In fact, because in the choice between Tyson Fury, the white guy, and Anthony Joshua, the black guy, they were by far in favour of Anthony Joshua.
And now he's turned around to all these white fans that he's had.
And now he's literally worth like $200 million.
$250 million or something he's worth. And all these white people have
And
supported
said,
him.
fuck y'all.
And he's turned around and gone, fuck you guys, in their opinion.
That's the way they see it.
But he's not
And
said
you've got to understand that these people that you're talking about, so we're from what we call a council estate, what Americans call projects, white or black, and these areas are very mixed in Britain.
Yeah. There's not the
Mixed with,
just if any British people are watching or listening out there, the segregation in America is
crazy.
It's a different level to what we're at.
Crazy.
You know,
You'll go to
Glendale. When we lived in South Central, we used to get on a bus, or we had one bicycle, and he'd sit on the back and I'd ride, or vice versa. We would start in Hollywood, where it was mixed, and we'd drop down. It would go through down Western, and Western, it's a famous street. We'd drop down Western. We would go Latin community, Latin community, Latin community, and then it would end dead, and it would just Koreans, and then end dead. African Americans, black community, and that you could see it like a fucking colour block. And
we were literally the only white guys.
The only white guys, because Joey, I love you, but my best friend Joey moved into South Central. He thought we were.
But he's kind of Latino, so
he's Portuguese and he speaks
in.
Spanish, but not really.
No.
And he thought, and when he moved in there, I'm like, I think this is a bit of a risk. He's like, why? We're not racist. I'm like, of course we're not racist.
But those guys literally care about the colour of your scarf around your neck, whether it's red or blue. So I don't know.
That's gang territory.
I think I'm asking for an ass whooping around here.
And you guys will say, oh, the black communities have.
To be fair, but
there's another thing that pisses me off where they say the black communities have so much crime. Those black communities are low-income areas. Okay, the percentage of crime per person is exactly the same, almost to the number, as the percentage of crime per person in a really bad neighbourhood of Glasgow that I used to go into, Glasgow in Scotland, and that was
Manchester, where we're from.
Yeah,
because
Glasgow was a white neighbourhood though, Mark.
Right,
Manchester's mixed.
Okay.
Glasgow is white
fair
kids.
enough. Okay,
it is white kids, white on white crime down there. It's black on black crime. Manchester was
what I wanted
crime.
to say is that even living in South Central, I don't suppose people messed with us because we were making $50 a day waiting outside Home Depot.
Yeah, we came home every night covered in other people's shit
from fixing someone's plumbing. I think, people knew that our energy was like...
They didn't want to mug us.
Yeah, these guys are
I
struggling
don't think they're rolling 20.
I think they had better things to do, bigger fish to fry. But even though we were in that neighbourhood and Americans are heavily armed, and that's what makes it dangerous, the common sort of street level violence was nothing like where we grew up in Manchester.
No. There wasn't
nothing.
I went out and I'd be a bit concerned sometimes. The rolling 20s, I would wave to them until they started doing those goddamn gang signs to us, and then I thought I'm going to just take a different route home.
Eyes focused on the front, but it was definitely like. Casual violence is way worse in the...
Yeah, Manchester, where we grew up, the promise of casual violence every time I left my house, whereas in South Central, there was threat of violence, but it wasn't a promise. It was like, if you were
Everybody
lucky,
had a car, everybody had a gun. And, I know it was like the highest crime neighbourhood in famous neighbourhoods that you'll have heard of that we lived in South Central LA, but I can tell you that the sun was shining. I mean, it wasn't...
The houses were really nice.
To where we grew
the
up.
neighbourhood we were in was near the West Adams district, and it's this is a beautiful historic buildings, beautiful.
But
homes.
if you tell anybody where it is, they won't dispute that we was in we were in the hood.
The prostitutes lining the streets,
and not the Julia Roberts prostitutes either.
No, suck your dick.
So with the Anthony Joshua situation, I feel that the people that are on your timeline are largely from the neighbourhood we grew up in. These are completely disenfranchised people, man.
Yeah.
These are, they feel like they've been accused of racism when they have probably spent
Yeah, well, that's what they were saying. They were saying, you know, some of my friends are saying, I'm never coming to your fights again, or I'm never buying your pay-per-view again. And it's like, you know, they've supported him, and if they feel like he's told them, but he didn't say that. He didn't say that,
No,
guys.
he's not. But I'm saying from where they're, because whenever something triggers me, so I'll see somebody call him a racist and I'll read what he said and I'll think that's not racist. And then I start to think, are these guys racist for saying he's racist? And I think, right, let me put myself in their shoes. And these
By the way,
guys,
that's empathy, guys. Empathy isn't sympathy. Empathy isn't saying, I understand. Empathy is actually having the ability to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. The thing is, with me and him, we've been on the bones of our ass so many times, like when we're down in South Central, they have a fucking pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. And when you turn around and you're sitting your ass in the gutter and you go look for somebody to help you out, you'll be surprised. It might be a black man who's helping you out there. It might be a gay man. It might be a brown man. It might be a white man. Odds are he won't look like you.
Jewish, Muslim, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. You don't know who's going to help you out. And I'm telling you, I've been on my ass so many times in life. People who've helped me out have come in every shape and form. That's what made me get over this
Fortunately, we've
bullshit.
had the benefit of being on our ass and being in high society too. So we've seen it from both sides.
Some people just don't have a
We're
ground for
able
comparison.
to say, yeah, these people are actually incredibly privileged and just simply don't get it. Like, they don't know. They might be highly educated. They may have been to an Ivy League school, but they learn through reading. They've never experienced
Well, I told you
the fucking humiliation of poverty. And you can't. It's not something you can learn. You can read it. You can go, I empathise and I get it. And there are people who have a better understanding. But until you've really experienced genuine hunger and poverty and not knowing where your next meal's coming from, you won't fully understand it.
And in this country, me and you don't have...
So we have the benefit of having gone through those experiences.
We're still not qualified to comment on...
The race issue?
No, because we're white guys. And that's... I'm sorry, guys. That's the fucking fact.
But I think we are qualified to judge
whether
a black man has said something racist against the white community.
Well, it's like that picture I sent you today
that.
where it's a big fat white person, and I don't even know if it's a girl or a boy, I can't actually tell, but wearing the top that says fuck white people.
That's not helping.
White people aren't a monolith, you moron. There's not all white people are racist. Not all white people go Christian, Jewish, atheist, gay, straight, transgender. Yeah, fucking numpty.
It irks me when I see those kind of things too, when you see like...
Are the people who are walking around with the handcuffs on
shackles.
and the sign saying sorry? You know what that says? That says
that's how do I make this about me?
That's how do I make this about me? And you know what it's like saying? It's like saying they're saying sorry for being white, which actually means I'm sorry you're black. Do you know what I mean? I pity you for fuck you patronising bastards.
Yeah, they're not asking for that. Just give them some equality. Just live your life.
Well, like I said, I had a conversation this week where somebody said, oh, I got to go to my Botox guy and I really don't know what to say because his ex-wife is black, so he's got a black kid. I go, well, what does that mean? Well, I've got to go and get Botox. Is he a white guy? He's a white guy. But I don't know what to say because he's got a black kid. I don't know what to say about his kid. How about saying...
Here's what you say. Can you get rid of these wrinkles here?
Can you get rid of these wrinkles?
How many pieces, units of Botox do you think I need? That's what you say.
And if you want to talk about his kid, you say, how's your kid? What would you say if the kid was white, you fucking idiot? The same thing, that's what you say. The same fucking thing. But what it is here, the lack of racism isn't I love you and I don't hate you, I love you. Lack of racism is saying, I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit.
I think that's where we're at. Like,
I don't give a shit.
Are you gonna, if you're gay or straight or black or the levels in which we don't give a toss cannot be explained. We have had black managers, we have Jewish managers, we've had white managers. Some of the people who perform with us are females or black or Latino. Well, or Russian. We don't employ them because of those things. We employ them because they're the best
at what they do.
The other stuff doesn't matter. I don't care what you are. You just got to be good at what you do, and then I'll employ you. And if you're the best, you get employed. And if you're not, you don't. Identity politics is fucking stupid.
Well, actually, we're speaking about Anthony Joshua and how we think what he said was misunderstood.
Well, what I'm saying is this, Alistair, because I thought about it a bit more.
Okay, good.
If you're remembering Anthony Joshua's worth must be hundreds of millions now because his next fight, if they fight with Tyson Fury, he's going to get he can write a blank check for that.
Right.
It's just off Saudi Arabia is going to get $100 million anyway.
Okay, good.
And yeah, good. And what you're getting is some guy from our community lost his job at the factory that's closed down, struggling by on benefits because there's
Pissed
no
off.
work, sat on an engine block, having his kids playing with the...
Eating his microwave meal.
Yeah, having his kids playing with the blasting caps for Christmas, and he's had to shape his welder's mask into spray it red and gold and tell them it's an Iron Man mask for Christmas. Sat on an engine block at home eating his microwave meal, watching telly and getting told he's got privilege. And he's not a racist. And he spent what money he could put aside to spend $40 on your pay-per-view. And he's sat there praying you win. And then a guy's worth $200 million turns around and says...
Don't give them any money.
Don't give them any money. And it's just too... misfires. Nobody's wrong and nobody's right.
Sure.
Just,
One thing that we did find funny though, again back to...
Because Anthony Joshua's solution is the right solution.
Yeah, it's the only solution.
But in an ideal world, we'd surpass all that tribalism and just share the money with each other.
Well, we will surpass it when they level themselves off by doing that.
Thank you.
That's the only way to deal with it. Okay, they'll level themselves off. Now they've got money, so therefore they've got power, which is what it's about. Now people want their money. Now they have to give them. Like in Hollywood, they have to give them. They have to put them in movies now. They have to. Don't fucking want to. They don't care about you. Don't care if you're black or if you're white. They don't give a shit. Don't care about you. But if you've got money, you've got power. And now they want your dollars. They want you going. Marvel, the Black Panther movie, I went and watched. It was all black people in there. Marvel wants your fucking money now. So hey, guess what? You're getting a black superhero. They've had fucking hundreds of years, but now you're getting a black super, and they want your money. And good, it was good. But you guys earned that. Okay, they didn't give it to you, right? You earned it.
I mean, speaking from.
You all went out and you supported that movie, though. Black people supported that movie, and you made it.
You loved that movie, right?
I thought, look.
I didn't think it was that good, but I think that's because
Best of a bad bunch. I'm not into Marvel movies.
So many people said it was so good. I went there and I watched it, and then at the end when he was in the projects, I was like, "Oh, this is where it's going to eat up," and that was the end. I was like, that was just a regular ass.
Deadpool's a Marvel movie.
Deadpool's brilliant.
So Deadpool's my favourite Marvel movie, and then it was okay. It was okay.
You know me, I only react to comedy.
Exactly.
And was there any comedy?
There was a lot of punctuations of humour with the guy who lived on the mountain or something.
I can't even remember.
Like for people who are watching this on other parts of the world, or people who are in LA and you're hiding, like me, I live in the Hollywood Hills, and there was a lot of threats that the people were going to come up here because the protesters and the looters, to be fair, they did it right, as you say. They did it right. They went to Beverly Hills, the rich areas, West Hollywood.
Well, one of my neighbours, she'd protested outside Mayor Eric Garcetti's house to get the nail salons open because she didn't believe coronavirus.
Fucking hell.
What?
Fucking hell, yeah, sorry.
I said to you the week before, if you want to affect change, that's what you do. You follow these rich Karens and you follow the path that they've took, because they will start opening things up now. Because of these Karens, they turned up.
All those protesters.
Whereas ordinarily, wherever in the world these riots are, even if they're back home where we are for different reasons, they tend to wreck their own communities. You know, if our community had a riot, they'd smash up our house, and it's, why are you smashing my house? I haven't got anything. And I always said they should take it to the mayor's house, they should take it to the White House, they should take it to the politician's house, and they should take it to the Beverly Hillses and the West Hollywood, the neighborhood, the Hollywood Hills, the areas that we live in. That's how you're going to affect change. Because if you get rich people scared, they're the ones with the power. They're the ones who can pick up the phone to the politician or the police chief and say, hey, they're outside my door. All you need to do is make rich people feel like you, if you're poor, when we were poor, feel every day with the threat of violence, the threat of crime on your doorstep. That's nothing new to us.
There was a tweet that went round that said the protesters and the looters were going to come up into the Hollywood Hills and West Hollywood where Mark lives. And
they did.
Yeah, and they were going to loot and raid our area. And I got so many phone calls from concerned rich people clutching at their pearls going, oh, we're going to suffer for once in our lives. Yeah, we might have to suffer. You know what? If they burn I said to them all, if they burn my fucking house down, then tough shit. Right, tough shit.
That's what happens when you create.
That's what happens when you create.
And this isn't a black and white. This isn't a black and white issue, and the protests have not turned out to be.
No,
that's the main thing.
That's what I want people to understand.
This is not a race war. Nobody is disputing it. Nobody is disputing it.
You go to those protests, you're watching it. All my friends
Very
calling
positive.
it. You're watching them pointing the cameras at looters, the handful of arseholes who are looting. That's not what's happening here. That's not what's happening here. You said you went around on your bike. In LA, you're usually in a car. Everywhere, you're in a car, so you kind of watch Los Angeles through a window. You never, it's not like New York or London where you walk by each other.
And you feel it.
You feel like you're watching a TV set. Everything's through a windshield, and you went out on your bicycle.
Yeah, and I rode up on a protest, and I thought, well, I'm going to ride through this. And this was at a time when they was trying to convince us that the protests were
violent,
but which we'd already experienced through our own stupidity.
We drove right into the heart of them.
We drove right into the heart of one last week.
We drove right into the heart of them. Just a quick thing. What did we see, Matt? What looters did we see? Tell them about that story. One looter we saw.
On the Saturday, we were shooting some footage with our mate. Again, our mate, the videographer is one of our close friends. He happens to be black. And
what should I say to him, Mark? He's black. How should I address this?
Yeah, what you should say
Fucking
is...
Fucking hell, maybe I should treat him like
what
I treat
you should
everybody.
say is what scene we're going to shoot next.
Yeah. Yo, Dominic, what scene we're going to shoot?
But
fucking hell.
When the riots started to happen, and they were riots, not protests, and it was all being reported on the news, I felt intense up, and I thought, this doesn't bother me. And then they imposed a curfew.
They imposed a curfew saying you've got to be in by 8 p.m. They imposed a curfew
like
at 7:30. It's like, oh yeah, I've got to get home in half an hour.
And I'm thinking, but we haven't shot enough footage.
No.
And I'm going to have to pay him for the date regardless. But I can't lay my trips on him. This is a lot to ask of a friend who I care about. So I'm going to cut the day short and take him home, because even though we don't give a shit, doesn't mean he doesn't give a shit. And he just...
So we drove into what was on the news being portrayed as the height. It looked like kind of Baghdad at the height of the Iraq War on CNN. People are calling me, Alistair, don't you dare go out.
There's
don't you dare go out.
buildings on fire.
Wow, people's looting. So we drove right into the heart of it.
We drove right into the heart of it to drop him off. And then on the way home, accidentally,
accidentally on purpose.
Well, you wanted to get near, but you drove us right into the heart of Fairfax District, which was where the major looting was going on.
It was half a block of arseholes, mainly...
Two cars pulled up. There was a Cadillac...
A Cadillac Escalade
and a
Tesla.
A Cadillac Escalade, yeah, an Escalade.
Like $200,000 cars.
Right.
And a pair of $100,000.
And then there was like 3 black kids, 3 white kids, mixed among them, but there's 6 kids. None of them were
rich
poor.
kids.
Rich kids. Just little pukes who'd watch a TikTok or an Instagram video and just picked up a shopping trolley and put it through a window.
Picked up a shopping cart, threw it through the window of Trader Joe's. It's a grocery store here in America.
But those stores...
And got back in their Tesla and their Escalade and went off.
But those stores up there that they were looting, it's that one store that sells sneakers for like $3,000 for a set of sneakers. And it's like, what you've done is you've created a culture that's being told you're less of a person if you don't have this car or this house or these sneakers or this watch. But then you've created an economy that makes it almost impossible for 99.9% of people to get any of that shit that you've convinced them that they need. So if you just hit that powder keg with a spark, what do you think is going to happen? But those little bastards didn't even have that excuse, because they were rich kids. And they just didn't care. They were just bored on a night. I nearly got out the car and said, what was it?
Yeah,
Remind me what the guy's name was who got murdered. Because you don't know, do you? You don't know. But there was another part of me that was like, yeah, fucking wreck these neighbours, because they won't get it and they won't change anything unless it affects them.
I've never seen, honestly, the amount of people up here in the hills who were shitting themselves, and finally life was going to affect them, and who were terrified. And I've seen it before. I've seen shit happen before. So if they came here and knocked on my, they came in and started looting outside my house, I'd be like, hey, I've left the keys in the door, the expensive shit is in the studio.
Just so you know, I'm one of you. I've worked really hard for this shit.
I've worked really hard for this.
I
finally got myself out of shit that I've been in several times in life. I climb my way. But you know what? I understand.
Do you know how we know that poor communities don't have any attention paid to them, though? Do you remember when we were kids?
Yeah.
And it was just me and you living on our own. I mean, when I say we were kids, I mean we were like
12, 13.
We might have been 13. And our dad worked night shift.
And we were alone in the house, basically.
Yeah.
As many kids are, but we had it particularly.
Yeah, our mother wasn't around.
We were like Beavis and Butthead. I don't know if you've ever seen Beavis and Butthead. 2 kids sitting on a couch watching MTV and their parents are conspicuous by their absence.
Every gang knew in town, if you just want a fight, all you have to go and do is,
knock on our
knock
door.
on the Blackham's door because there's nobody there to. We didn't even have a phone. We weren't even connected to the phone. So this gang shows up, and it's a massive gang. I don't know how many people, but it looked like 1 million, but it was probably about 30. And
Probably about, it could have been about 20 of them.
Right, God knows. And one of them had a gun. And we'd had our doors kicked in anyway. That's a long story. But we climbed out the back window.
No, I said, look, they're at the front door. Climb out the back window. Go to the payphone. Call the cops. Get them here. I'll keep them at the front door so their attention's on me. So you climbed out the back window. I went to the front door, you know, to cause a diversion. You ran round and you got to the payphone.
And I called the police and I said, hey, you need to come here quick. There's a gang outside my door and one of them's got a gun. Which, by the way, if you've got a gun in Britain, that's like, you may as well have a nuclear weapon. It's not easy to get a gun in Britain. Not everybody's got them. You can't buy them at Walmart like you can in America. It's like saying there's a guy outside and he's
I don't know if British people can understand this. You can go to Tesco's and buy a firearm, an assault rifle. Okay,
I don't know if Americans can understand this.
The same way you can buy
saying that to a British
pasta.
person is like saying you can buy a nuclear missile. Like, just going to go and buy some crack. Because in order to get a gun, you have to be dealing with the wrong elements of society. So by the time guns are getting pulled, you're in real big trouble. So I ran to the call box and I called the cops and I said, you need to come quick. And they said, do you have anybody who's over 18? And I said, no, I'm 13 years old. And they said, well, get an adult to call. Well, who? My mum ain't around.
The cops didn't give a shit about
They
our
didn't give a
neighbourhood. Is
shit.
what it's saying.
Because if I turn up dead,
it was lawless.
who gets in trouble?
Lawless. It was like the Wild West out there, which is kind of how it was in South Central too.
And they didn't care because they're like, yeah, it's a colony for poor people where we lived, and they're supposed to be killed, and nobody cares as long as the cops' jobs are safe. And that's not to say every cop's a bad person, by the way, but as long as their job's safe and they
but
don't.
A lot of them are. We could say 50%.
There's a particular type of
50%,
person.
50%, eh?
Yeah, 50-50. But it might not be that. I'm sure there's plenty of good cops, man. But
what's your experience?
We used to ride bikes with one. He was all right.
Yeah, and what did he say about cops then?
He said they were all arseholes, to be fair.
But he was a cop, and what did he say about cops?
Yeah, I know, but, you know, if we get in trouble, we have to call them, don't we? I mean,
yeah, but how many times have you been pulled off cops, and how many times have they been reasonable or logical, like 50-50, right?
No. Last time I got pulled, the guy was sound.
Right, well, last time I got pulled, I got dragged down the street
Well,
in shorts and
50-50
no
then,
top
because
on.
that guy...
with my
So
arms on my back.
50-50, and that's fair enough. It's regular.
Because I had no fucking registration on my truck.
Anyhow, yeah, they were willing to let us, and we worked out, it's actually, and comes back to what Anthony Joshua was saying, it's socio-economic power that actually tilts the table back in your favour. We had no power as kids where we were living because of our financial situation, which was
it's
no
unfortunately
money. So I thought it was absolutely artful the way they took it to the. Although there was something that irked me about scrawling on the side of Louis Vuitton, "Fuck capitalism," as you run in there and
steal the bags,
climb through shattered glass to get a bag that's probably physically worth about
$3.
$3
made by a Chinese 15-year-old working his hands bloody 7-year-old.
I think that guy's I was going to say 7-year-old.
Chinese 7-year-old.
And they've emblazoned it with their gaudy, horrific logo so you can look like a real douchebag. And you've risked your life to steal that bag and then written "fuck capitalism." And you are capitalism.
You've just capitalised on the situation.
Whether you bought that bag, if you stole that bag, you're a moron.
You do know what capitalise means, right?
But I mean, you couldn't be more capitalist. If you're walking around with somebody else's logo emblazoned across your bag all over it, you're a victim of capitalism.
But as I was saying, Mark, the people who are watching the footage, they're just seeing this shock, sensational bullshit looting. You was out on your bike and you couldn't get home because the fucking National Guard, which I'm more concerned about than any of the looters, by the way, just so you know. I'm way more
They get
scared.
you so scared, so you're like, please send in martial law.
Give me a break.
Even Joe Rogan, who's normally a rational person, is like, yeah, but they got to send them in. All right, okay, you're literally cutting the keys to your own prison cell, guys. I don't know where to start. But sorry, finish your point about that.
No, my point was that you rode home and
I rode through the protest and I saw them, and this was at a point when they were supposed to be violent, and I thought, oh, do I need this? And then I thought, nah, I believe in the cause for the protesters. I'm going to ride into it. And
on his bicycle.
And I don't like even turning my handlebars 10 degrees through fear. I'd rather ride into a fight than just through being stubborn. So I thought, I'm going to go to this protest because I believe in the cause, and I'm going to find out what it's about, and I don't believe the mainstream media.
Turn the news off. Please turn the news off.
First of all, first things first, right off the bat, super mixed. Super mixed. And I don't just mean white and black. I mean...
I mean,
there
Mexican,
were gay guys there. There were old women. There were kids. Super mixed. So I ride through it, and I have the garish cycling kit on. They start cheering me.
He had spandex on.
Yeah. And I thought, I'm asking for it. I'm asking for someone to throw a brick at me. Even just some trouble causer. They cheered me like I was winning a cycling race. It was embarrassing.
Mark rode through the protest and they cheered Mark more than Lance Armstrong got cheered winning his last Tour de France.
It was embarrassing. Yeah. But the wall of energy that hit me, and I'm not a particular energy guy.
No, I am.
But
I think it's
wall of energy that hit me was beyond positive.
Yeah.
It was like, I want to stay here. This is not a shitty place to be.
I called you the other day.
This is not anger.
No.
This is not fear.
It's not
this is not an argument or a conflict. This is complete.
It's not division.
This is everybody right across the racial, political, socio-economic, sexuality, sex, right across every spectrum in complete agreement that this is a worthy cause.
I called you
complete support of one another. I was like, this is a cool energy, man.
Yeah, I called you when I got stuck in the protest. I was driving down Santa Monica Boulevard, trying to pick up guys on a Saturday night, just a Saturday night out. Now, I was driving down Santa Monica Boulevard and I suddenly saw the National Guard coming. I was like, oh, Christ, what's this? And they blocked all the roads, and then all these protesters came. I'm stuck there in my car thinking, right, they're going to trash my car, they're going to spray paint my car,
There's got to be one arsehole amongst them.
Yeah, here I am, white guy in a fancy car. I'm asking for it, And, not at all. It was kids. Again, literally every car had black, white, gay, straight. You couldn't tell anymore. Fucking some Billie Eilish kid sitting next to somebody who looks like goddamn Kanye West, with an old woman on a walker behind them, and they were just singing songs, listening to me. Na 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 na.
You were listening to that song?
Yeah, they were all chanting it. They were all chanting it.
I disagree with that song.
Why?
Because it's shit.
Yeah. What is it? Fun Boy 3? Bananarama? No.
Bananarama did not a bad.
Fun Boy 3 and Bananarama? I can't remember.
All right, maybe that's not bad then.
Anyway, they were all singing that song, which was weird to me because it's from before Matt. It's like,
it was never a big
like an old song
before our time.
It's like 40 years fucking old, that song. I don't know what that fucking song is. But yeah, they were all singing that, and it was really positive. And I was like, it's not what you guys think. I wasn't scared a little bit. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Yeah, but if the powers that be did this to try and divide us, it fucking backfires.
Because they're always trying to divide. It seems to us that somebody, and I've never quite put the pieces together, but somebody seems to benefit from division. So always somebody's trying to break you up, but just don't go for it, guys.
Watch David Icke.
Don't go for it. Do not go for it. Don't go for it. Do not be divided over anything. Just stick to how people treat you. You treat them how you want to be treated, and it'll be really easy to worm out the arseholes.
3 rules, guys, in life. 3 rules. EC Twins rules. Have a good time. Don't hurt anybody. Try not to die. That's all.
That's it. And if you can't be divided, but it seems that all the people who say that are the ones who they really don't like. Gandhi got whacked. Martin Luther King Jr. got whacked. Malcolm X was all right when he was a militant, and then as soon as he started speaking unity, they whacked him.
John Lennon got whacked.
Yeah. Robert Kennedy got whacked. John Kennedy got whacked. Yikes. Maybe we should start talking about division.
Everybody who stands up and said, can't we all just get along, got their fucking head blown off. Anyway, we'll wrap it up in a minute. We'll just about more. You can
in conclusion, is Anthony Joshua a racist?
Exactly.
Alistair.
in my opinion, Anthony Joshua is not a racist. I understand why you're upset, but he's not. Please watch his speech and understand that it's a positive message. A positive message. Like you said, he gives so many qualifying sentences to explain. I'm not against anybody.
Yeah.
I'm here for every community.
Right.
You know, this is, and it's just a solution to a
But
problem.
what he perhaps has to understand is that people who are already suffering have probably just gone,
Yeah.
what did I do wrong?
Yeah, and British people are.
I'm
British people are
working-
like, wait a minute. So we weren't racist when we supported you. We don't care what colour
Wait
you
a
are.
minute.
Yeah, you care what colour we are.
You do understand that what's going on in America is going on in America, right? You do understand that British people just hate each other regardless of what.
We have a class system there.
You
It's
do
way more complicated.
It's a way of having a prejudice against somebody who looks just like you.
Exactly, but maybe has a different accent. You know,
Yeah,
that's how we
you do
do it.
understand that I'm going to stab that guy because he supports a different football team. I don't care.
You do understand that in Britain, me and Mark would be inner city Latina. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No matter what colour we are, like we're working.
So I understand, but unfortunately, even if you feel ostracised by his message because it doesn't appeal to your race, he is right with what he's saying, guys. He's right, and I know that's going to irk some of you, and you're going to think, "What did I? You didn't do anything." He's got a point, and I know. And then, so if we want to live in an ideal world, you share your money outside of your community, like we do. 'Cause I couldn't give a toss
inside of your community,
outside of your community, and then when we all do that, we won't have to. They won't have to do the other thing.
Yeah.
You know, if we all just because. You know, there are British groups over here, and the nice guys, they've got good intentions, but we one time went out with them, nice people, Brits in LA, shout out to you, nice guys, but we were immediately like, no, we don't want to just talk to British people.
It's like, oh, let's go to this pub, it's all British people there. Let's go to this bar, it's all British people. Let's go, my mate Dave, you'll like him, he's British. I crossed an ocean to get away from Britain. What makes you think I came here to hang out with British people?
Practically swam here. What are you talking about? You know, how am I going to
What's
change?
the opposite of British? I don't think they can speak English. I want to go and hang out with them.
Is there anything with English as a third language?
Can I go and hang out with them?
But we get a kick out of that. We get a kick out of eating Ethiopian food, Persian food, Korean food. We get a kick out of that.
Well, that's because we like food, though, Matt. The consistent thing there was food.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever eaten Ethiopian food, by the way? He just says that because it's odd because you don't get any knives and forks and it's a teff bread and you eat it.
Probably not COVID food, that is it? You
I don't know.
Wait, did you eat it recently?
The day before we were locked down, I was like...
Oh, really? Yeah, it's delicious. Although the first time I tried that injera bread, I was like...
Iron. It tastes like iron.
Yeah, I was like, huh.
Vinegar,
but then again,
vinegar.
the first time I tasted Thai iced tea, I was like, the orange juice has gone bad.
Yeah.
So, but I learned something, and we like learning stuff. So, if you really want to deal with the situation on the bigger picture, share your money
And
outside
also-
of your community. But if
and
your
also-
community is struggling, in order to build it up to a point where it has the power to make the choice, you have to spend
And
the money
also,
within
if you
your
have any
community.
prejudice, again, if you have any prejudice, go and hang out. If you have a prejudice against black people, go hang out with some black people. If you have a prejudice
Good
against
point.
Muslims, go and hang out
Good
with some
point.
Muslims. If you have a prejudice or judgment about Asian people, go hang out
Good
with Asian
point.
people. I'm telling you, my prejudice, I never
Good
really
point.
had any. I wasn't taught that way.
Every single person we've had the discussion with that they have a prejudice, we say, well, when was the last time you hung out with whatever it is you're prejudiced against?
You have a prejudice against gay
And then
people,
they'll be
go
like,
hang out with gay
because
people.
I just hung out with a bunch of Muslims, Jewish people, and they were cool. And they're like, well, they're not real Muslims or real Jewish people. Yeah, no, they were. They were.
They fucking were.
That's exactly what they were. Just like regular people. Just regular. Well, in fact, regular people in your definition, which seems to be, I don't know, white Christians or
People who
something.
look just like you.
Well, I don't know.
So yeah, go and hang out with different people.
It's really good for you. So yeah, that's a good way to end it, Alistair. Make sure you hang out with different people.
Maybe even go to their country. That's what helped us a lot as well. Go to their country.
Yeah, Anthony Joshua had a point.
Yeah, I like Anthony Joshua. Still think.
And by the way,
still think Tyson Fury knocks
we
him
were
out.
right
though.
about his boxing.
Yeah.
A big, a
Anthony
little fat Mexican guy from Los Angeles.
Anthony Joshua fans fucking hate EC Twins on Instagram. They fucking
hate
hate me.
us.
I told him he wasn't that good at boxing. I told him he was going to get battered by that Mexican, and he got battered by him. And I don't think he can beat Tyson Fury.
You told him he was going to get battered the first time he fought anybody good.
Yeah.
But to be fair,
I told you first round of that Mexican fight, he's done.
he's wobbling. He's done.
He's done.
He's done. He's got a glass jaw.
But I like the
but
man.
I hope that. But the last fight, he had the rematch and fought against him, and it was brutal. I loved it because he learned and he really came on.
Yeah, he whooped his ass. It was beautiful.
I loved it. It was
beautiful. Anthony Joshua
beautiful.
versus Ruiz too. Anthony Joshua, you were beautiful. I loved it. It was beautiful. Fuck, it was a beautiful. Yeah, because
I still kind of want Tyson Fury. So when he just,
I don't really care who wins.
No, I don't care. On the Battle of Britain, I don't care at all. Actually, you're right because Anthony Joshua's already lost once.
I feel for Tyson because he's from Manchester, but you know that
and
goes back to
he
tribalism. He had a
tough
tough time and he earned it. He's been through some shit, but then again, he's
thoroughly entertaining. But Anthony Joshua seems like a nice guy, so I won't be heartbroken if either one of those.
Whoever wins. Good luck to them both.
Good for them. Yeah. In conclusion, check both those fighters out. Give them your support. They're all right. Neither and fundamentally, neither one of those are racist. So there you go, Alistair.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. It was good seeing you. Sorry it got so serious, but shit's been fucked up.
Yeah.
Over here.
Yeah. Peace.